It's no secret that Charleston is one of the fastest growing mid-sized cities in the United States. With an average of 30 plus people moving here every day, the population is now well over 800,000, making it the biggest city in South Carolina. Charleston's population growth rate between 2020 and 2022 was 3.9%, whereas the US was 0.6%. Over the past few years, the Southeast has had the biggest rise in population growth, with the West Coast actually declining in things like home prices and population, whereas the Southeast prices are still rising and people are still coming. As you'll see in this graph, South Carolina is blue, which means it has a positive net domestic migration, and people are coming from places like California and New York, where the cost of living is high and people may not agree with the politics. People are moving to places like Florida, Georgia, and of course the Carolinas. But why might people be moving to Charleston specifically compared to some other places in the Carolinas? I'm actually from Charlotte, North Carolina, so in this video I want to share some of my favorite things about Charleston, South Carolina, and what makes it a special place to live. The first reason I love Charleston, and you might too, is the weather. It's pretty mild throughout the year. Right now we're in the middle of July, so it's about as hot as it gets. But I look forward to the fall when it cools down a little bit and is just right at about 70 degrees. It does get humid, but that's a problem throughout the Southeast, and it doesn't seem to hold people back from moving here. Most of the year has great weather, and I personally am not about dealing with snow and ice storms, so it's the perfect place to be if you're looking for a subtropical climate. I don't know if I could handle Florida. It is nice having a mild winter here too. Being subtropical and not fully tropical, it does cool off and give you a break from that hot summer heat. This can be nice compared to Florida, where it stays pretty hot year-round in places like Miami. And if you like thunderstorms like me, Charleston's a great place because it's mostly sunny, but you'll have pop-up thunderstorms pretty often, especially in the summer, and they make it feel nice and cozy. Lately we've had a lot of rain, but I do prefer sunny days. You do get some fluctuations, but the seasons might not be as pronounced as somewhere in the Northeast, where there are changing colors in the fall and major snow in the winter. The next reason to love Charleston is that there are so many things to do, both indoor and outdoor. No matter what hobbies or activities you're into, there's probably a group for it here. There are a lot of flat trails throughout the Lowcountry. If you like outdoor activities on the water, you are in the right spot. There's endless kayaking, paddleboarding, jet skiing, and boating, which opens you up to all sorts of activities. There's also things like kite surfing and just surfing in general. Most of the areas throughout Charleston have some sort of major outdoor trail to go to. For example, James Island has the James Island County Park, which has miles of trailways, and you can go kayaking and go on a rock climbing while there. You can even camp there. West Ashley has both the West Ashley Greenway and Bikeway, and Mount Pleasant has Palmetto Island County Park, which is over 900 acres of outdoor activities, and that's just to name a few in the area. If you do like some sort of elevation change on your hike, South Carolina does have mountains on the northwest side of the state, but you can also walk the Ravenel Bridge, which is the biggest elevation change in the local area. For indoor activities, the list also goes on. There are countless museums and art galleries to explore, and so many local classes where you can pick up new skills. Recently, my friends and I got into Aerial Fit, which is an aerial art studio located in West Ashley. This shows that while Charleston is still a mid-sized city and is nowhere near as large as some of the other cities that are growing in the Southeast, there is still so much to do. I recently made videos on things to do indoors and outdoors here, so you'll have to check them out. I also wanted to mention that there are things to do for every age group here. If you have young kids, there are plenty of areas to take them. We even have our own children's museum downtown. If you're a young professional, we have networking events and events to meet other like-minded people. If you're a retiree, we have some communities with amazing amenities, so you have plenty of options there too. No matter what age group you are, you'll find something fun to do in Charleston. The third reason someone might find Charleston a desirable place to live is the growing economy and job market. Obviously, with more people moving here, that means more opportunities will need to rise to meet the local population. We're continuing to see more and more major investments by large companies such as Google, Boeing, and Volvo. For example, Google is spending $500 million to further expand its operations in the Berkeley County area, which is part of the Charleston Trident area. Additionally, the project to make Charleston the deepest harbor on the East Coast has finally been completed. This means that all container ships will be able to pass through, regardless of the tide or the weight or size of the ship. This is great for the local economy, as that brings a lot of jobs to the area. The largest industries for employment in the area are trade, transportation, and utilities, followed by government, and then professional and business services, followed by leisure and hospitality, and then education and health services. So we have a pretty wide range in industries here. The only industries you don't see too much of are finance and information. So if you're looking for a Big Four consulting firm, for example, you won't find opportunities like that here quite yet. But hopefully whatever field you work in does have some sort of opportunity here. Here in Charleston, we have a lot of manufacturing and healthcare jobs. The largest employer in the area is Boeing, with 6,500 employees, followed by Roper St. Francis Healthcare with 6,100 employees, and then actually Walmart with 3,900 employees, as we have a regional distribution center. The next few are Trident Health System, Bosch, Volvo, and Mercedes. The next reason for Charleston continuing to grow is the cost of living. While locals will tell you that the cost of living is nowhere near what it used to be, that holds true for the entire United States, unfortunately, with inflation. Charleston still has a decent cost of living, especially when you take into consideration the quality of life compared to some other places. The median sales price currently in the United States is about $425,000, and Charleston is still below that number, at about $410,000 to purchase a home. We have a lot of opportunity in the suburb areas of Charleston, with places like Somerville, Monk's Corner, Goose Creek, and more. There you can still find an affordable house and be close to many of the activities that Charleston has to offer. Everything's relative, so if you're coming from a rural area, the cost of living will be much higher. But if you're coming for a place like California or New York, then the cost of living will happily surprise you. The next great thing about Charleston is that it does have a great nightlife scene. When we go out in Charleston, we like going to rooftop bars in the early evening or for a good happy hour, and then being home at a reasonable time. But we've also been known to go to Trio, which is a club in the area where the downstairs is normal club music and the upstairs is EDM, which we love. College students, locals, and tourists alike all enjoy going out to many of the bars and clubs. Charleston has a number of venues for all different vibes. If you're looking for something more casual, there are small places like Proof, but if you're looking for something more lively, then you could go to the Republic, Garden and Lounge, Uptown Social, Trio as I mentioned, and more. Shem Creek is another area with great nightlife. It's located in Mount Pleasant and is over the water, so it's a beautiful venue that gets pretty rowdy at night. It's also great for a nice happy hour or calm dinner out with a nice view. The sixth great thing about Charleston, and a reason why more and more people are moving here, is the events. All throughout the year, there are a number of festivals and events of all different kinds. These bring in hundreds of thousands of visitors each year, but obviously locals enjoy them too. Just to name a few, there's the Spoleto Festival, the Flower Town Festival in Somerville, the Lowcountry, the Oyster Festival, Southeastern Wildlife Exposition, the Piccolo Spoleto Festival, the Bridge Run 10K, and so much more. Those are the big name festivals. Throughout the year, we also have food truck festivals and plenty of farmers markets and smaller local events to really get to know your community. If you've been to one of these events or festivals in the Charleston area, comment below. I'd love to hear what your favorite one is. Number 7 is the history. Charleston isn't just a standard city. It dates back to the 1600s, so if you like learning about early American history, this is the perfect place to do it. Downtown has a special charm that you just can't find in a newer city. This is reflected in the houses too, as even a lot of the new construction models their styles off of the Charleston traditional style, with 2 stories with a front or side porch. Just walking around Charleston will immerse you in history, but to learn even more, we have a number of museums and exhibits to check out. And if you like war history, Charleston has plenty of that, with places like Fort Sumter, Fort Moultrie, and Charlestown Landing. Number 8 is the scenery. In my opinion, you just can't beat the scenery of the Lowcountry, with blue water surrounded by the bright green marshland, and then oak trees with Spanish moss everywhere. One of my favorite things to do is immerse myself in the scenery at places like Magnolia Plantation and Gardens. Working with people who have relocated here, they say it's just so green and vibrant, and that's something that I personally love about the area. Again, if you like mountains, it might be an adjustment, but I'm sure after visiting the beaches and going out on the water here, you might start to fall in love with it too. Okay, last but not least is the food. And I've talked about this plenty in my other videos, but it just can't be emphasized enough. Charleston has some of the best food in the Southeast. A lot of, if not most of the restaurant scene here is based off of Southern cooking or seafood. But honestly, some of these restaurants aren't even my favorite. There are a number of other restaurants with all kinds of cuisines to try. There are some dishes that you should definitely try if you're here so that you can fully experience Charleston. These are things like shrimp and grits and sheep crab soup. But if you don't like seafood, even most of these seafood restaurants do have plenty of other alternatives. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of some of the heavy cooking or fried foods, so some of my favorite restaurants in the area are Dashi in North Charleston, which is an Asian and Latin fusion restaurant, Co downtown, which is Vietnamese, Five Loaves in Mount Pleasant and Somerville, Table, which is a cafe and has amazing salads, soups, and sandwiches to try, and I'll leave it at that, but if you want some more personal recommendations, I'm always happy to help. If you're looking for more of the classic Charleston dishes to try, I recommend Magnolia's, Paul's Chop House, slightly north of Broad, High Cotton, and Pugin's Porch. Another cool restaurant to try is Church and Union in downtown. It was a church that's been converted to a restaurant. They put an emphasis on art, so it feels really unique inside. If your tour is the Somerville area, I keep hearing people rave about La Rustica and Laura's, which are Italian restaurants, so I have got to check those out soon. If you like to cook at home instead of eat out, there are also plenty of markets to pick up fresh seafood or whatever ingredients you might need. I feel like I've been rambling for a while now, but I could keep going on why I love Charleston so much. In recent videos, I do talk about some of the downsides of Charleston, like the growing traffic, and of course mosquitoes and hurricanes. But to me, the quality of life in Charleston explains why so many people continue to move here. Even as interest rates rose to 7%, there's been so much demand for housing in Charleston that prices have not let up. Inventory is still way too low. In my opinion, Charleston still faces a lot of appreciation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a favorite part about Charleston, I'd love to hear what it is. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed learning more about Charleston, and I'll see you soon.